I know that none of these are just like quick fixes that just magically make it better. But I will say that my life has noticeably changed since doing these things. Today I want to talk a little bit about anxiety. I'm going to be talking about some things that have helped me personally work through some anxiety issues that I've had. First off, I want to say I am not a professional at all. This is only me sharing my own personal perspective. It's all very personal and everybody's journeys are going to be very personal. I'm going to be doing my makeup while talking about this stuff. So let's have a little bit of a history. I don't know if I would have considered myself an anxious person growing up or if I have become that way over time. I remember as a kid telling my mom that I was never going to be a stressed out adult. And over the past few years, I would say, I've become increasingly more and more anxious about things. Of course, I went through times of being anxious about certain things when I was younger, but nothing like it has been in the past few years. It all really started, I feel like, with some certain life situations changing, different health issues within my family that became incredibly overwhelming, and I don't think I ever dealt with it in the best ways. I'm not gonna really talk through like anxiety coping mechanisms because I feel like when I hear other people talk about theirs, it's triggering for me. So we're not really gonna talk about that. But I didn't know how to deal with anxiety getting worse. I also wouldn't really admit to myself that I was anxious. Like, I felt like it's pretty normal, not a big deal, until it got to the point where this past year, like obviously everything with the pandemic was really stress-inducing, and then like working my job is stressful at times. I work for a manufacturing company. I don't think I've ever really talked about it on my channel at all. You don't really need to know that, but it expands my character, I guess. So basically, past year, really stressed, right? Really anxious all the time, to the point where I was having anxiety attacks, other anxiety symptoms. I won't go into all of them, but definitely having a lot of issues with it. And eventually got to the point where it's affecting my life, like pretty bad. And I was an anxious mess all the time. Now, I'm not gonna say that I am never anxious anymore or that I won't be, because that wouldn't be true. I know that I'm gonna go through struggling with being anxious more in my life. Like, I know that. And I know that none of these are just like quick fixes that just magically make it better. But I will say that my life has noticeably changed since doing these things. So I'm gonna talk about the biggest one first, and people are probably gonna be like rolling their eyes, but honestly, hear me out. I started therapy back in May of this year, and to say that it changed my life would be an understatement. I do my therapy through BetterHelp. This is not sponsored, but genuinely I recommend it to anyone who's wanting to get into therapy. I think that there was a lot of things that were holding me back that I had to get over, so I understand the stress of it, or like not, what's the word? I understand having a hard time getting started with it, because for me, I said stuff like, I don't need it, like I'm not that bad off. I said stuff like, I should be strong enough to deal with this on my own. It's too expensive. Other people go to therapy, not me. The more and more I tried to deal with stuff on my own, the more I realized I needed something. And I wish I had like journaled or something like during that time, and I wish I had said like my thought process basically as to why I actually decided to do it, because I think that would be useful information to share. But I do know that several people in my life were recommending it to me, and that made me mad, to be honest. I was like, why are you guys saying this? Like, that is just, I don't know, like telling someone that they should go to therapy seems rude, right? But anyway, I finally decided to do it. I signed up. I remember when I first started therapy, I took an anxiety test, and like my score was super crazy. If I can find a screenshot from it, I will put it in. But then I took it like a couple of months later, and it was like way lower, and it was like down to a more like normal level. I could probably make a whole video about like how therapy has impacted me, things I've learned in therapy, that kind of thing. So if you would be interested in that, leave me a comment, because I can probably do that for you. But we're gonna move on to the next tried and true thing that I did. And this is something that I learned in therapy that I honestly didn't agree with my therapist on, but I decided to give it a try. And that is to do things that I enjoy, or do things that you enjoy, instead of dwelling on the thing that's making you anxious. So I was of the mindset of, oh, this thing is making me anxious and I need to figure the thing out before I can do anything else. And that was not great. So I started intentionally doing things that I enjoy, and I also started planning more downtime. I'm still not great at this, but one thing that's really helped me is planning my day the night before, especially my work day. So like at work, knowing, okay, tomorrow this is what I need to do, and writing a list out of that. I had another thought along the lines of planning my day is also holding the plan for your day loosely. So like if an inconvenience comes up, or if you forgot something, you forgot that there was like a major thing that needed to get done that you didn't plan for, you didn't put on your to-do list, it's just like holding that more loosely. That's a hard one, but I just thought I should mention it because it's also a good one. This isn't always helpful because sometimes if you're not great at knowing how much you're capable of doing, or like, you know, making your to-do list a appropriate amount for a day, I think that's something that can be difficult, but simply the act of doing it the night before is helpful. And then this is another big one, which is pretty recent, and I think it has helped me a lot. It's also been a little sad, not gonna lie, but that is reducing or quitting caffeine. I used to drink so much coffee, especially like probably around the time I was first, actually, to be honest with you, around the time when I was getting really anxious. I used to drink like 3 cups of coffee a day, and then I cut it down to 1. And just really recently, like this past month or so, I have quit coffee altogether unless it is decaf. So if I get coffee in a video or something, that's because it's a decaf coffee. Now, if that's not something that you can do, you can't part with your coffee, just like sometimes substitute, I don't know. I was very addicted to coffee though. I was to the point where if I didn't have caffeine, I would get a terrible headache. And so I just wanted to quit it fully. I don't know if I'm looking back, to be honest. I do miss coffee though. It's a very fun thing. And it was one of those things I actually held on to as like, this is the thing I need to not be anxious, because I need my coffee, right? But quitting actually really helped. It just helped me physically calm down because I'm not just constantly having caffeine coursing through my veins. Now we're moving on to the portion where I talk about things that I'm currently learning or tips I've heard from people that I haven't fully implemented. So here's a big one. I've heard this somewhere. It was in a podcast or in a book. I don't really remember what the source is, but I think you could look it up and you probably could find out who it is that said this. But basically it's this concept of dropping the plastic ball. So think of all the things in your life that you're juggling constantly, and you're trying to get all of these different things done. You want to make sure that nothing drops, right? If you have that many things that you're juggling, like you just can't. You're gonna drop something at some point. So instead of dropping your glass balls that are things that are super important in your life that you shouldn't be dropping, you should identify the plastic balls and drop those. You can also describe this as don't overbook yourself, learn to say no, don't overcommit. This is always hard, but I think that it's definitely good to, you know, at least to have that in your mind of like, oh wait, I can actually say no to things. And then also just identifying which things are important to you and which things is okay to let go. Next one is get enough sleep. A few of my recent videos, I have been working on this, been trying to figure out getting enough sleep. I really don't get enough sleep. Like for a while I was averaging at like 6 hours a night, which is really not good. You're supposed to, I think on average people are supposed to get like 7 to 9 hours of sleep, which to me sounds insane, but learning to get enough sleep, good thing, very good thing. Here's one for you. Reduce your screen time. I think that a lot of times the stuff that we're being fed, the stuff that we're choosing to look at on our screens, fuel our anxiety. Imagine that. And also just, I think physically looking at a screen all day can be stressful on your eyes. It can just give you anxiety for many reasons. There are things you can do. You can set times where your phone, like where your apps get shut off. You can set time limits for certain apps. There's a lot of options. Don't know if I've done the best of this recently, but I guess it's just good to switch that out with something else, something more real. I know it's hard also sometimes because like sometimes when you're really anxious, what you want to do to distract yourself from being anxious is to be on your phone or to like watch a show or something. And that actually can be a good thing sometimes. It can. So, you know, it's always just finding out. Like, pay attention to how things make you feel or how they impact you. Instead of being on your phone, you could journal. Journaling out your thoughts helps with being anxious. I'm not really someone with a super consistent journaling habit, but I do think that it is really helpful sometimes to work through a certain problem in your brain. Here's one that I don't do at all, that I definitely feel like I should do, but it is to eliminate the need for decisions, smaller decisions that you have to make on a daily basis, especially in the morning. So like choosing what to wear the night before, choosing what to eat the night before, maybe like standardizing a certain diet for like certain meals. Okay, every single day I eat the same thing. I know a lot of different like productivity people do this because it really helps with brain clarity and like helping you not get anxious about having to make so many decisions in one day, especially when they're very basic decisions that just add on to the list of things that you need to do. So I don't do this one, but I decided to include it anyway because it's probably a good one, and I will definitely, I might try it. I might work on that. And my last point here, let's do a little challenge here. Not challenge, but like a little activity. So look around wherever you are right now and tell me how many yellow objects you see. All right, look back to me and don't look back around where you are. Just look at the screen and tell me how many things did you see that were blue? Whatever you look for is what you're gonna see. If you're constantly looking for what's going wrong or what is wrong with your life or just how stressful and how anxious your life is, you're gonna find it. And that's something that I also just think is really important to remember, to look for the good, look for the little moments, and you're gonna be okay. And life can be really hard. It really can. There's so many things to deal with. There's so many crazy things in the news. There is things in your personal life, work, there's relationships, there is money. There's so much, but there's also so many really good things and so many things to be grateful for, so many things to be thankful for. Life truly is beautiful, especially when you choose to look at it that way. To anyone feeling anxious, just know like I'm there with you. I see you. And you can DM me if you want to on Instagram. My username is Abbie Peyton _. I would love to chat about that because it's definitely hard, but you can get through this. If you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I can't show you thumbs up because I'm holding this. And go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you join me here. That's gonna be it. I will see you guys soon. Bye.